make your bike go faster. Probably the most common search result in the browser history of any beginner rider who just had their R3 completely obliterated by even a humble 650. Making a motorcycle faster is actually a lot easier than you might think nowadays, with manufacturers having to make sacrifices for emissions and safety standards. But that's big bikes. BMW's S1000RR can pick up something like on the order of 20 horsepower or more with an exhaust and a tune. But what about beginner bikes, Yam? Well, here's the cold hard truth, my young squidlet. Your beginner bike will never be as fast as you want it to be. That's kind of the point. They're meant to be stepping stone motorcycles for you to learn the basics and then move up to the next level. That being said, however, there are properly fast small bike fetishes out there who can still dust up leader bikes around a corner even though they get past like they're standing still on the straights. So in the spirit of making your little beginner ride squid missile that you want it to be, let's look at the 7 ways to make your bike faster. One note before we dive in though, do not do all 7 things. It's honestly just cheaper and easier to get a bigger bike at that point, and really, your skill as a rider is going to determine how fast you ride the bike. Pick 2 or 3 and then ride and enjoy your bike. Also, we're not going to be looking at big bore kits or hot cams or any of that stuff for the same reason. Number 1 on the list, yeah, we're counting up today. Keep up, it's okay, is the one that will have the most immediate impact on how your motorcycle rides, and that's swapping your sprockets. Now, I don't want to be a nerd about it, but we've got to bring in math so you understand what's happening. By changing the tooth count of your sprockets, either front or back, you're changing the amount of torque your chain can impart to the rear wheel. Bigger sprocket means more torque, means more power. If you've ridden a bicycle, you know how this goes. If you bump up a few teeth in the rear, say going from a 41 to a 42 or maybe even a 43 tooth, you'll notice a subtle increase in power. And if you go down a tooth in the front, you'll notice a big increase. Once again, that's thanks to math. However, it's worth noting that by changing the sprockets, you're not actually making your bike faster, really. You're just changing how the bike delivers the power it's already making. By increasing the tooth count on the rear sprocket, your bike will feel a lot more punch off the line, and you'll notice it in revs up high a lot faster, but it'll have a lower top speed. If you're looking for a bigger top speed number, you'll want to decrease the size of the rear sprocket. By the way, a change of 1 tooth up in the front and a change of 3 in the rear, so going down 1 tooth up front is like going up 3 in the rear and vice versa. Now, if you want my recommendation, I would increase the size of your rear sprocket by 3 teeth. Yes, the bike will have a lower top speed, but the feeling of speed and acceleration you gain is going to make your bike a lot more fun to ride. Don't overdo it though. It's really easy to accidentally make your bike incapable of highway speeds if you go too much in the rear. Also, you might need to mess with your speedo so it reads the proper speed, though each bike reads speed differently, so you'll need to check your own bike. If swapping your sprockets messes up your dash and you're too lazy to get yourself a speedo healer, you could always just go to the Josh route and use your phone as a handlebar and a dash mount. But Yammie, how am I going to secure my phone to my handlebar? If only there was some company out there that made a lightweight, small form factor, drop-tested phone case that mounts up directly to a handlebar mount. Well, it would also help if some wonderful internet talkie man would offer a discount code. Well, you're in luck because both of those things exist. You can mount up a phone, get a proper GPS, get everything sorted on your motorcycle with Rockform. They make the best phone cases, packing a powerful phone-safe magnet, a whole bunch of accessible, attachable accessories, and a lot of cool other toys for your phone and other things as well. Click the link down below and check out everything they have to offer. Use the code YN25 for 25% off your order. You might even save some weight by chopping off that old stock Dash 2. Who knows? That can make you go faster too. Number 2, in keeping with the theme of making your bike feel faster, put a slip-on exhaust on your motorcycle. Oh, but Yammie, I want a full system exhaust. It'll sound so cool and make the bike go zoom zoom so much gooder. You actually don't want that. Full systems are expensive and you're not going to see enough of a benefit to justify it on your beginner bike. So just stick with the slip-on. Also, parallel twin beginner bikes are never really going to sound that cool, but I guess that's a matter of personal taste, I suppose. For your slip-on exhaust, choose the one that looks the coolest to you. Yes, some of them come with dyno sheets showing that you'll increase 0.72 horsepower over the stock pipe, but normally you'll never notice. What you will notice, much like the sprockets, is an improved sensation of speed. Actually hearing your bike rev out adds to the butt dyno effect, where it feels pokey because there's more feedback. Combining a slip-on exhaust with the new set of sprockets will make your bike feel like a totally different ride. One more thing I'd recommend in your search for a slip-on is to get one with a removable baffle. That way, if you want the bike to be loud for a weekend ride, you can pop it out, but then if you want a more mellow ride to the office, you can just pop drop it back in. Or you can be a total squid and just leave it out forever. That's cool too. Number 3, and now we're actually getting to real power adders here, is to change your air filter. The stock paper filter that comes with most motorcycles is the equivalent of trying to breathe through a gas mask. It's extremely restrictive because it's designed to filter out every last piece of dust and crud that you don't want going down into your engine. But they're also made on a budget. That means they're not particularly well engineered, and chances are if you've had your bike for a minute, you've probably not changed the filter in the air box, which means that not only is your bike breathing through a restrictive filter, but also the built-up layers of crap the filter has collected. You should probably replace your filter once a year or so, more often if you're in a dusty place, and even more if you ride off-road. You might be surprised with what a new filter can do, but if you're already in there, you might as well get a high-flow air filter. Those allow your bike to pull in more air, which allows you to burn fuel more effectively. Better burn equals more power. The best part is that high-flow filters aren't that expensive, usually under $100, and some of them are cleanable and reusable, meaning you could have the same filter for years. One thing I'd caution you against is modifying the top end of your airbox. A lot of times I see people ripping holes in the top of the airbox or removing snorkels, claiming it allows the bike to breathe better, but normally that makes it worse. Those snorkels help direct air into the airbox more effectively, so by messing with your airbox, you might actually be pulling in less air. If you want a clear example of that, go watch the On Two Wheels episode where Zach and Ari took scooters in the Sierras. It's a great episode. Number 4, and perhaps the most expensive power adder, is a fuel controller or an ECU flash. Of all the things on the list, I recommend this one the least, but it'll also have the biggest impact when you put it on top of a bike with an exhaust and an air filter. Essentially, all it does is intercept signals from your ECU and send an adjusted map to the bike and make sure you have the exact right fuel to air ratio for optimum power. You'll get that map from either a session on the dyno, which tailors it to your bike, or a general map from your exhaust or fuel controller manufacturer. An ECU flash, on the other hand, basically rewrites the information on the ECU instead of replacing it, can oftentimes open up new options like higher RPMs, different settings, and ignition timing, and others. That's even more expensive though, and often requires sending your ECU off to a company to get it done, which means you can't ride while you're waiting to get it back. By correcting for or even eliminating environmental restrictions, your engine can make all the power that it's actually capable of. You're also going to notice that when you tune your motorcycle, it'll start actually running a little bit cooler, which might be counterintuitive, but lean engines run hotter than properly fueled ones, so it can be a beneficial thing in the long-term health of the engine. Now, while a tune is a great way to make a lot more power on big bikes, temper your expectations for the beginner bikes. On 300 to 400cc motorcycles, you expect to see maybe 1 or 2 horsepower, and on 650s, you might be able to squeeze an extra 3 or 4 at the top. What you're likely to find is that your throttle response is improved and your on-off throttle is going to be a lot smoother. If for some reason you're feeling like going balls to the wall, you can go with the power commander. You might be able to fit a quick shifter as well. I really wouldn't recommend that unless you're an absolute small bike fetishist or building a race bike, which is rad. Okay, so we've talked about things you can put on your bike to make it feel faster, actually make more power, but now we're going to talk about taking stuff off. That's right, number 5 is shedding weight on your motorcycle. By reducing the curb weight of your bike, not only will you be able to reach higher top speeds because your power to weight ratio goes up, you'll accelerate faster, stop quicker, and handle better. There's a reason why race bikes ditch stuff like headlights, taillights, environmental equipment, and heavy stock fairings. If you've gotten number 5 and you decided you're not going to listen to me and do everything on the list, you've probably already shed the most heavy thing on your bike, your stock exhaust. The stock exhaust is super heavy thanks to an extra packing and thicker metal, and oftentimes you can achieve a weight reduction upwards of 15 pounds. While that might not sound like a lot, remember, bikes don't really weigh that much. A Ninja 400 weighs like 360 pounds. You can also save some weight by getting a smaller tail tidy, swapping to a lithium battery, and a thinner chain. There's a point of diminishing returns though, when the parts you're installing aren't worth the weight decrease, like swapping a titanium bolt, getting lighter levers, or removing indicators. If you're running out of things to hack off your motorcycle and you still want to save some weight, you might want to look at number 6, go on a diet. Now, this doesn't apply to everybody, but if you're carrying around some extra pounds, it'll be cheaper and easier to eat a salad than to buy some more carbon fiber. If you're thinking that rider weight can't be that big of an impact, take a look at any of the roll races that Spite and I have done on comparable motorcycles. Thanks to our weight difference, I'll be able to outrun him every time, even with the head start. Thanks again to physics. Look, I know it's a hard thing to do, and I'm not saying that everyone should switch to eating nothing but twigs and berries, but if you've got an extra 10 pounds on board, it's easier to shed it from your hips than your bike. Also, don't think that getting a lighter helmet or a lighter jacket is going to make a difference, because it won't. Number 7, and this one is both free and something anyone can do, and if you've made it this far in the video, you should really listen to it. It's just go practice your riding skills. If you're really chasing down lap times, or you don't want to feel like you're slowly rolling through a corner like you're driving Miss Daisy, then you need more seat time. That's the best mod you can give yourself. You're not going to hop on a motorcycle immediately and be as fast as possible, unless you're some sort of MotoGP alien. Instead, you'll need to practice. Practice looking through corners, leaning off, and not grabbing so much brake when you don't need it. While you can practice practice some of this on the street, there's a limit to what you can safely do on public roads, so I highly recommend booking a track day and spend a weekend having some fun turning laps with no speed limits. If you're worried about going to the track because you only have one bike and you don't want to crash it, you'll be fine. You're not going to ride at the limit on your first day, so you just take whatever you have and have a good time. You can also book some time with a coach and learn how to actually improve instead of just learning it all on your own. The most effective way to make a slow bike fast is to have a fast rider on board. I don't have a fact for you today. This is a factless video. Sorry. Goodbye. Bummer for you, my little squid. This video is actually over, but lucky for you, there's plenty of other Yammie videos you can check out right over here. What's gonna happen to them? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can watch them right now.